what is the most important thing in any crisis is really cash flow, because cash flow is like your bloodline, and cash flow does not just mean just merely income minus expense. How much in emergency bucket do you have? What is the worst case scenario? How long can you fund yourself without a job? Now, if your net worth or your break glass has been broken, then the next thing to do is to find how can you fill that up right now? Because anything can happen. You can lose your job, have a pay cut anytime. So fund that. And then how do you fund that? Look at what's the most liquid assets you have. If you don't have liquid assets, you might like to consider selling some of the something that will give you some value at this point in time. And if you don't have any assets to that worst case scenario, you don't have any assets to sell, then look at what are your alternative ways of bringing money in. Perhaps you might need to seek help from a relative, or perhaps you need to actually do a second job, or maybe monetize some hobby right now and increase that income stream. You list down your expenses. And there are two types of expenses, discretionary and non-discretionary. Discretionary is something you can do without, like I mentioned, in gym expense and some subscriptions. Non-discretionary is the one that you have to live. You have to have them. If not, you won't live. You won't have a place to live. So list down what are your basic expenses, not salary, and have a minimum of 3 months of that, right? 3 months is the very minimum, and add 1 extra month if you think that you are in a job that is at risk. Another month if you think you have, say, pets to feed and they need you, and another month if you are near to retirement. So that's why 3 to 6 months, Nadia. It's not the number of months of salaries, but the amount of money you need to keep you afloat. That's where you base your emergency funds on. If there is a credit card debt, we need to tackle that, because you need to overcome the credit card interest rate, which could be 17, 18, or whatever percentage. I know it's high, and in order to overcome that, you got to take a lot of risk to have that kind of return. So what do you do when you have a credit card outstanding, and do you restructure it now? The answer is yes. You restructure it now because interest rates have actually come down. There are holes in your pockets if you don't restructure. And how do you restructure credit card debt? Is that you need to just take out a piece of paper and list all your debts, credit card debts, down one by one, and rank it by the amount as well as the interest that you're being charged for. And start with the most expensive one if you can, because that's where you can save money. Right? And clear that one. Now, assuming all interest rates charges have the same rates, because there's a certain structure to how much you're being charged, isn't it? I cannot remember how much, because I don't really bother about interest rates problem until I see it. Now, then if all rates are the same, then start with the smallest one, because the more you clear your credit card debt, the more motivated you are to get rid of the rest.